Welcome back to another Forbes's Gunners show, and what to do. Witnessing the serious backlash of comments about Arsenal's game against Tottenham Hotspur on the weekend has been both depressing and yet encouraging. Why, you might say? Well, I'm not sure what your prediction was against Tottenham, who have been on good form, with players who are finally following their manager. They are sitting fairly comfortably at the top of the English Premier League table, and they were in that same position before they played us. Personally, I would have taken a draw. And if we get deep into the stats, neither team created real promising chances. Both of their goals came from counter-attacks, one with a superb finish from an extremely talented footballer, and the other a 4v2 situation which was only going to end one way when it is at the feet of Harry Kane. I think on reflection, the fact that Partey limped off when he should have just gone down was a terrible misjudgment from him, a mistake I do not think he will ever repeat again. It was, likewise, a lesson in tactical superiority for our young manager. Jose has been outclassing top managers around the world before Arteta was even considering becoming a manager. I mentioned in my previous video about what are Arsenal's realistic projections for the season, and you can see that video up here in the link. I outlined a clear top 8 finish would be fantastic, and a top 6 finish would be a huge achievement with this squad. We need something like 50 odd points with at least 12 wins. Where we think those wins will come from if we do not score is a challenge. With most of the players themselves in fairly poor form at the moment, due I think to a lack of confidence under what is becoming increased pressure, and the fact that we still haven't scored from open play in like over 500 minutes or something. So we have to hope that both Mikel and the team have learned some valuable lessons for the future. It is time to go back to the basics. While I do not fancy the 3-4-3 formation, it is still the one from which we were winning games. I think let's try and get David Luiz back on the pitch to help with some creativity from the back, alongside Holding and Gabriel. As for our outside wing backers, I think we need to bring in some fresh faces. While I do not think that Cedric is the answer, I do, however, think or believe he has some very, very valuable experience when it comes to defending. He's also been proving himself in the Europa League, and I think deserves a shot while Bellerin is struggling for form. Nothing against Hector, but I think a little run in the Europa League could give him much needed bit of confidence. As for the two defensive central midfielders, I believe we need some fresh faces here too, believe it or not. Xhaka again showed just how poor he can be. Even when Partey was with him for some of the first half, he looked poor. Dani Ceballos, who towards the end of last season was among some of the best midfielders in the Premier League, he needs solid, reliable game time. I think he should be there week in and week out. And alongside him, my personal favourite, Maitland-Niles, at least while Partey's injured, who showed that he had plenty of what it takes to fulfill that role. I am tired of seeing him playing in the back five as a right back. We brought in Cedric for a reason, did we not? I would like to add that I do not think that Niles is the finished product yet, but a future Partey and Niles combo who I think would be fantastic together. Now for the dire front three. Where to begin? Let's start. We most certainly need someone who will finally link the midfield with the front three. Laka has been experimented in this position in the last 2 games, showing against Rapid Vienna, but was nowhere against Tottenham Hotspur. I do think this should still be his role, and I hope he will start on the weekend against Burnley for another go at it. But he needs to be given clear instructions. Work for the ball, allow the ball to be bounced off you, creating space for other players to use him as a 1-2 to get around block defences, which are becoming more and more common in the league. The two up front, who I can honestly say should be playing on the left and right, are Nelson and Saka. 2 reasons for this really. They create good nurtured combinations with their wing backers. in Cedric and of course of Tierney respectively. We saw how well the combo between Nelson and Cedric was in the Europa League game last week. It was against a terrible opposition, but I do think there is something there worth nurturing. Saka and Tierney, I believe, share this like-mindedness. It was a stark comparison of disappointment between Willian and Tierney when they were in the same channel against Tottenham. They just seem to be in the same position all the time and crowding one another. I also like how both Nelson and Saka tend to take the inside half space and not the outside half space. What this means is that instead of putting 42 crosses from further out, like what we did against Tottenham Hotspur, we could allow Cedric and Tierney the space to run further and perhaps cross from a lower angle closer to the edge of the box. In defence, I must also say that Nelson and Saka are faster to react than Willian, Laka, Aubameyang, and even Pepe. I think this is because they are also still trying to prove a point to the manager, and I think they seem to care a bit more. The big exclusion there is Aubameyang. Honestly, I think he wouldn't mind coming off the bench and finding the net in the closing 20 minutes to give us a win on the weekend, instead of spending most of the first 65 minutes chasing the ball, covering for the lack of defensive work by the likes of Willian, Lacazette, Pepe, etc., etc. That is all for the weekend, however, because tonight we play our final group stage match against Dundalk, a dead rubber, but an opportunity for Arteta to nurture some more of these combination players. Keep an eye out for that Nelson-Cedric combo and the Willock-Eddie Nketiah combo. I also hope to see Chambers and Murray starting at the two central defenders, because I think there's something special there as well. I guess my point is that we must allow players to get to understand the other player's game plan. I saw this in an interview between Ian Wright and Dennis Bergkamp. Dennis Bergkamp mentions that his first run was never to receive the ball, but rather to mislead the defender. The only thing that you need for this to work is that your own players must know this information as well. And this is something that needs to become instinct, or rather instinctual. We need that instinct from our players again, but this will only come from minutes on the pitch together. Given all that I've spoken about today, I will give you my predicted starting 11 for tonight's fixture. In goal, we have Ronaldson, who's been pretty good recently, I have to admit. And the two centre-backs who I'd like to see are Chambers and Murray. Right back, Bellerin, he needs a bit of confidence. Left back, Kolasinac to give Tierney a rest. The central midfielder or defensive midfielder in El Nani. The three midfielders in front of him going from right to left, I would say Nelson, Willock and Willian. Two up front in Pepe and Eddie. The formation is roughly a 4-1-3-2 and defensively more a standard 4-4-2. Attacking, I would like to see interchanging between Willock and Pepe and channel changes between Nelson and Willian, giving other attackers more freedom. If you like the content today, please hit that thumbs up, share this video with fellow Gunner fans, and of course subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.